Welcome back to Think Aloud English. We're here to help you not just learn English, but to really get a feel for the culture and, how the language is used in real life. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Roshi. It's great to have you with us today.
Today we are jumping into something I think is, well, it's really useful. We're going to explore how people in the UK talk about their time off. And this is more than just a vocabulary list. It's about understanding the culture behind everything from a long weekend to a staycation.
Exactly. So if you're looking to feel more confident with these kinds of phrases, the ones about travel and UK traditions, then you are in the right place.
Our goal today is to go a little bit deeper than the simple definitions. We want you to finish this session with a much better understanding of how things like history and culture shape the way British people talk about their time off.
We'll be speaking slowly and clearly so you can really focus on picking up all this new language.
Okay, let's get started. I think the first thing we need to unpack is probably the most confusing one for learners.
Oh, yes. The big one.
Holiday versus vacation. So the basic difference between American and British English here is really all about which word you choose. Can you just lay that out for us?
I can. It's pretty simple, actually. In British English, we almost always say holiday.
Right.
That's the standard everyday word. Now, if you say vacation in the UK, everyone will understand you. That's not a problem. But it immediately sounds like you're speaking American English.
And the key thing is that in the UK, holiday is such a broad word. It can mean anytime you're not at work or school, even if you don't travel anywhere.
Yes, that's where the confusion often comes from. For a lot of learners, vacation means you have to go somewhere, you have to travel.
But not here.
Not here. For example, kids in the UK don't have a summer vacation. They have school holidays. And when we talk about Christmas or Easter, we often call them the holidays or maybe festive breaks. It's the whole period of time when you're not working.
And speaking of official time off from work, the UK has a very specific term for a public holiday. It's one you really need to know, especially in a professional setting.
Yes, the bank holiday.
Right. So what is a bank holiday?
A bank holiday is just the official term for a public holiday. Historically, it was a day when the banks were closed, and so most other businesses and schools closed too.
And it's interesting because it's not just a casual name. It actually comes from a piece of history, an old law.
That's right, the Bank Holidays Act of 1871. It was an official act of Parliament that set out these specific days of rest for everyone.
I think that's a key point. In other countries, they might just be called public holidays, but the term bank holiday shows that historical link to finance and work. They almost always fall on a Monday, too.
They do. And when a bank holiday is on a Monday, it creates something that everybody in the UK loves.
Ah, yes. The long weekend.
The long weekend. It's a phrase you'll hear all the time. It just means you have a 3-day or sometimes even a 4-day weekend because you have that extra day off added to the Saturday and Sunday.
And I think the fact that it's called a bank holiday really emphasizes that the time off is about an official pause from work. It's not necessarily about an expectation to travel.
Exactly. You could spend the whole day doing DIY in your garden. We'll talk more about that later. But you are still on holiday.
Because your office is closed.
Precisely. And that's a really good foundation for our next topic, which is, what do people actually do with all this time off?
Okay, so let's get into the practical side of things. The activities and the travel vocabulary. The most obvious one is to go on holiday, which usually means to travel somewhere.
And for many years, international travel was the first choice for a lot of people, especially if you wanted some guaranteed sun.
Right.
Our source material mentions the really popular places for Brits to go, like Spain, France, Italy, Greece. They're close, and the weather is usually a lot better.
But, over the last few years, there's been a huge rise in a different kind of holiday and a specific word for it.
The staycation.
The staycation. And its meaning has sort of changed over time, hasn't it?
It really has. It's a great example of how language evolves. A staycation is a mix of stay and vacation, obviously. Originally, it literally meant staying in your own home and maybe taking little day trips. It was a way to save money.
But that's not really what it means now, is it? The common definition in the UK has gotten much broader.
It has, especially since the pandemic made it so hard to travel abroad. Now, a staycation usually means holidaying within your own country.
So instead of flying to Spain,
You take a staycation in Cornwall to go to the beach, or you go hiking in the Lake District, or maybe you drive up to Scotland or Wales. It's all about domestic tourism.
and people do it for all sorts of reasons. It can be cheaper, it's more convenient, and some people are more aware of their carbon footprint now.
And these domestic trips are often a bit shorter. which leads us to some other really useful vocabulary for quick breaks.
Yes, like a mini break or a city break.
Exactly. They both mean a short holiday, usually just over a weekend, maybe 3 or 4 days. You might take a city break to explore London, for example.
Or if your holiday is all about driving around and visiting lots of different places, we'd call that a road trip.
Mm-hmm. And on any of these trips, you might try to pack a lot in. That's another great phrase.
I love that one. So if you're visiting a big city, you're probably going to be busy. You're visiting museums, monuments.
You could say you have a packed itinerary. That means your schedule's very full. Or you could just say, we really packed a lot in. It just means you did a lot in a short amount of time.
And then when you get back from your trip, you always talk about the best part, don't you?
Oh, always.
I would call that the highlight.
Yes. The highlight is just the most memorable, the most enjoyable part of your holiday. The highlight of my trip to Edinburgh was seeing the castle.
Okay, but while many holidays are about having a packed itinerary, some of the best holidays are about the complete opposite.
Absolutely. They're about relaxing and switching off.
That phrase, switching off, is so important. It means you mentally disconnect from your job, from your emails, from everything.
Mm-hmm. It's about resting, sleeping more, not checking your phone every 5 minutes. The most common phrase for this is probably just taking it easy.
Right. If someone asks what you did on your holiday, you can just say, oh, nothing much. I was just taking it easy at home. It sounds perfectly natural.
It implies total relaxation.
For a lot of people in the UK, though, a holiday is the perfect chance to escape the office and get outdoors. We're a big country for walking.
Oh, a huge country for walking.
Yeah.
Our sources say it's one of the most popular activities for domestic holidays. People love walking or hiking in our national parks or along the coast.
There are just so many beautiful places to go. You have the countryside, you can have picnics, go cycling. Dog walking is a massive one, too.
And if you're just escaping your normal routine for a short break, you can call it a getaway.
That's a great word. It's really flexible. A getaway. It doesn't say how long or what you're doing, just that you're getting away from it all.
Mm-hmm. And a very popular place for a getaway is, of course, the beach.
Yes. And we have some lovely vocabulary for the beach. You can go swimming, build sandcastles.
And if the sun actually comes out, which is, never guaranteed in the UK,
No.
then you'll want to be soaking up the sun. It just means you're really enjoying the warmth and the light.
Or if you're just relaxing and doing nothing, maybe by a pool, you are lounging. As in, I spent all afternoon just lounging by the pool. It sounds so relaxing.
It does. And here's a more informal one. If you're going out to have fun, you might say you're going to hit the beaches or hit the bars. It just means to go there with energy, ready to have a good time.
Okay, moving on from pure relaxation, holidays are also about culture and family time, right?
Definitely. Sightseeing and culture are huge reasons for people to travel. Visiting museums, galleries, historic towns, castles.
Hmm?
The UK is packed with them.
Or maybe go to the theater or to a music festival.
And especially during the long summer school holidays, the focus is really on spending time with family and friends. That might mean visiting relatives or having barbecues in the garden.
And a great casual phrase for that is hanging out.
Yes, it just means spending time together in a relaxed way with no specific plan. We're just hanging out with friends this weekend.
Now, let's go back to the bank holiday for a second, because even if you just stay at home for that long weekend, you're still on holiday.
This is a really important cultural point. You could be doing home improvement projects, which we call DIY.
Do it yourself.
Or working in the garden, and it's still your holiday, because you're officially off work. Many people also use the time for day trips.
And of course, we can't forget the food. A holiday is a time to treat yourself. People love to eat out at restaurants or pubs, or maybe have a traditional afternoon tea.
And if you're traveling somewhere new and you're trying all the local food, the phrase for that is sampling local cuisine. It sounds quite nice, doesn't it?
It does. It shows you're appreciating the local culture.
Okay, so let's talk about where you stay. The type of accommodation you choose really changes the feel of your holiday and your budget.
Let's start with a very British classic, especially in the countryside. The B&B.
Right. It stands for bed and breakfast, and it's a very different experience from a big hotel. You're usually staying in a room in someone's house.
And the price includes a cooked breakfast in the morning, which is often a full English breakfast. They're usually very cozy.
Mm-hmm. Then you have the outdoor options. First, there's traditional camping, sleeping in a tent on the ground.
But then there's the more modern, more luxurious version.
Yes.
Glamping.
Glamorous camping.
Exactly. This is when you stay in maybe a luxury tent or a wooden hut. You get a real bed, heating. It's the comfort of a hotel, but in nature.
We also need to talk about vehicles. A caravan is a trailer that you pull behind your car. You park it at a special site. But a camper van is different. That's a vehicle where the living and sleeping area is built inside the van itself. It's all one piece.
So a camper van gives you more freedom for a road trip.
It does. And all of these choices lead to a really important vocabulary point, especially for budgeting. And that is your meal plan.
Right. And this can be confusing. Let's start with a hotel. If you are on full board.
Full board means all your meals are included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's the most convenient, but also usually the most expensive.
And there's half board.
Half board usually includes just breakfast and dinner. This is really popular because it gives you the freedom to have lunch wherever you are during the day while you're sightseeing.
And finally, the option that's often cheapest, especially for families.
Self-catering. This means you rent a place with a kitchen like a cottage or an apartment, and you cook your own food. It gives you a lot of control and can save a lot of money.
And speaking of money, if you're traveling with a limited amount, the phrase we use is that you are traveling on a budget.
A very common and useful phrase.
Before we get to the calendar holidays, we have to talk about a huge piece of British culture, the seaside holiday.
Oh yes, the experience is perfectly captured in one phrase. The bucket and spade holiday.
It's such a classic, nostalgic phrase, isn't it? It just means a family trip to the beach, specifically to build sandcastles.
For many, many years, this was the main holiday for working-class families who couldn't afford to go abroad. And when you go to a traditional British seaside town, there are certain things you expect to see.
Number one has to be fish and chips.
Eaten out of the paper, of course.
Of course. Then you have the amusement arcades with all the flashing lights and coin-operated games.
You'll also see long piers stretching out into the sea, often with rides and cafes on them.
But what's interesting now is what our sources call the revival.
For a long time, people preferred to fly to Spain for the sun. But now, British seaside towns are having a revival. They're becoming trendy again.
Right, especially for their shorter mini breaks. Places like Brighton or parts of Cornwall are really popular now with younger people who appreciate the old-fashioned charm, but also the new restaurants and art galleries that are opening up.
It's a perfect example of how culture changes over time.
Okay, let's switch gears now and look at the main holidays that shape the UK calendar. Understanding these is really key to understanding the rhythm of the year here. Let's start with Easter.
Easter is a major Christian holiday, but it's also a guaranteed bank holiday weekend. You get both Good Friday and Easter Monday off work.
Which creates a fantastic 4-day-long weekend.
It does. And the traditions are very focused on family and, well, chocolate. The main tradition is that children look for chocolate eggs hidden by the Easter Bunny.
And the scale of this is just huge. Around 80 million chocolate eggs are eaten every year in the UK. It's a massive commercial event.
Beyond the Easter egg hunts, you might also see bonnet parades, where kids decorate hats. And there's a traditional cake, the Simnel cake, which is a fruit cake with marzipan.
Okay, next up, Christmas. We'll be brief because it's so well known, but Christmas Day on December 25th is obviously the biggest holiday.
The key things are the decorated trees, giving gifts, and the big traditional dinner, usually turkey and then Christmas pudding for dessert.
But the holiday doesn't stop there. The next day, December 26th, is Boxing Day. And this is also a bank holiday.
And the history of Boxing Day is really interesting. It's not about the sport, it's about boxes.
Right.
Traditionally, it was the day when servants and tradespeople would receive a Christmas box, a gift of money or food from their employers as a thank you.
So it started as a day of giving, but now it's very different.
It is. Today, it's one of the biggest days of the year for shopping. It's when the big sales start.
It's also a huge day for eating leftovers from Christmas dinner and watching sports on TV, especially football. It's a day for relaxing and recovering.
This is a lot of information. I hope you're all keeping up.
I know, it's a lot of detail. If you're finding this helpful for building your English vocabulary and your cultural knowledge, maybe now's a good time to just take a quick moment.
Please subscribe or follow or even leave us a comment. It really helps us to keep creating content just like this.
We really appreciate you learning with us here on Think Aloud English.
Okay, let's move into the new year. New Year's Day, January 1st, is another important bank holiday.
The celebrations, of course, start on New Year's Eve. There are parties all over the country. The most famous one is probably in London's Piccadilly Circus.
And at midnight, it's traditional to sing Auld Lang Syne. It's an old Scottish song about remembering old friends. And this is also when people make their New Year's resolutions.
There's also a really old superstition, especially in the north of England and Scotland, called the first footer.
Yes. The belief is that the first person to enter your house after midnight on New Year's Day brings you luck for the year ahead. And traditionally, this person is meant to be a tall, dark-haired man carrying symbolic gifts like coal for warmth.
It's fascinating. And that strong focus on New Year's brings us to a really important regional difference in the UK, the celebration of Hogmanay in Scotland.
For many Scots, Hogmanay is an even bigger celebration than Christmas. Hogmanay is simply the Scots word for the last day of the year.
And the reason it's so important is historical, isn't it? It goes back centuries.
It does. After the Protestant Reformation, celebrating Christmas was actually banned in Scotland for hundreds of years.
Wow, I didn't know it was that long.
Oh, yes. Christmas only became a public holiday in Scotland in 1958. So for all that time, the big winter festival, the gift-giving, the parties, it all happened at New Year instead. Hogmanay became the main event.
And it's not just one night. The celebrations are so big that January 2nd is also a bank holiday in Scotland, which it isn't in the rest of the UK.
Exactly. It's a huge multi-day party.
And finally, let's mention one more national day, St. Andrew's Day.
Yes, on November 30th. This is Scotland's National Day. It's a day of cultural pride, celebrated with things like traditional Scottish dancing, called a sealed, and the sound of bagpipes.
It's a very important day for Scottish identity, even if it's a bit quieter than Hogmanay.
We have covered so much ground today, from the legal history of the bank holiday all the way to Hogmanay.
Okay, that was a lot of very specific vocabulary, from self-catering to the first footer.
It was. So now it's your turn to be active.
We really encourage you to pause right now and try to use some of this new language. Try answering one of these questions, either out loud to yourself, or you could write a sentence in the comments.
First question. When you go on holiday, do you prefer the convenience of full board accommodation, or do you prefer the flexibility of self-catering?
And think about the types of trips. What kind of getaway do you enjoy most? A busy city break with a packed itinerary, or a relaxing staycation where you can just switch off?
Go on, try to answer out loud.
Yeah.
Using the language is how you really make it stick. That's the think aloud method.
You have done so well today, taking in all of this language and culture about UK holidays.
You really have. You now have the vocabulary to talk about everything from the revival of seaside towns to the history of Hogmanay.
You understand the difference between holiday and vacation. You know what a bank holiday is. And you can talk about accommodation like glamping or B&Bs.
So now that you understand the meanings, we have a suggestion. You should play this audio again. But this time, try using the shadowing technique.
It's a really powerful way to learn. Just listen carefully to how we speak. Pause the audio, and then repeat what we said out loud. Try to copy the rhythm and the tone. And remember to always practice out loud.
And here's one final learning tip. For even better learning, try listening to this again, not just today, but maybe in a day, then in a week, and then again in a month. This is called spaced repetition, and it really helps new language move into your long-term memory.
That's probably the best advice we can give you. Thank you so much for joining us for this big exploration of UK holiday language.
We really hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Save the episode so you can come back to it for your shadowing practice, and turn on notifications for our next one.
Goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.